We're going straight to the Q&A. I don't know how many people in the audience here have been to Finland. It is, if I'm allowed to say so, one of the most beautiful countries in the world. I'm a Scot, so I have some affinity with the topography of Finland. But could you just bring the country to life for the audience? What is the reality of thinking about connectivity in a country like Finland?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us here, and it's a great honor and for me, for the Finnish minister, to go into the big picture of Finland, that how and why Finland has been so successful, not just as far as digital transformation, but also as far as the country being, say, the happiest country in the world for 3 years on the row and so forth. I think there are 3 key elements behind that. And the first one is trust. Trust within the society and trust within people, but also within the authorities and within the private sector. So this comes to my second point, which is the partnerships. We've been working for decades, since the GSM revolution, 1990s, with so-called triple helix model, having the government, having the businesses and the academia working together towards sustainable innovations. And thirdly, of course, the regulation. We've been very ambitious, as we know from the telecom sector, but also from the energy, from the health sector, great examples. But also we have had the ability to deregulate at the same time. So balancing the regulation together with deregulation has been one of the key elements.
And I want to look back before I look forward, because the world is changing at an accelerated rate. What were the 2 or 3 biggest achievements that allowed Finland to get to where it is in its number 1, 2, and 3 rankings on innovation, connectivity, participation? What would you say they were? What were the 2 or 3 biggest policy decisions that you look back and think, yes, we got that right?
Well, I have to start from the trade policy and go all the way when Finland became a member of the European Union. Finland was a poor country. In 1960s, after the war, Finland did receive development aid. And now Finland is one of the richest countries in the world. There are 2 reasons behind.
So trading, openness to trading.
Openness to trade, and then our investments into education and the social and healthcare. System-level investments that everybody has a right and ability to become anything. And this is the welfare model, what Finland believes in, what I believe in, and what our people believe in. So everybody has a chance, and everybody has a right, and everybody gets support when things go bad as well. So this is so-called Nordic welfare model, which is the very cornerstone also for the innovation policy and also for the trust when it comes to digitalization or green transition, that there is trust amongst people.
On the panel earlier, we were talking about internet accessibility and internet access being a right, a utility, more than a utility, a right. Is that now embedded in the Nordic model? Do people see internet access as a right?
Well, the truth is that Finland has paved the way when it comes to internet penetration, when it comes to banking services, for instance, taxation services. No Finn has papers anymore. It's paperless. And we trust into the system. But also with the private sector, also with the health sector, I think that at the end of the day, it also comes back to the trust, the digital trust, the connectivity trust. And I think it's also up to us as politicians that although we have coalition governments, even now, 5 parties in the government, we have a very unanimous approach when it comes to big reforms politically, and we really want to take the leaps further. And, but of course, we have our difficulties as well. If we look at the digitalization, for instance, we have a lot of old people. If you look at the demographics, we really have to invest into this. let's say, digital abilities and know-how in the society. But it's not just Finland, it's pretty much a challenge for the world. So even we have a lot to do when it comes to digitalization and scalability. I think this is something we have to do better in Finland, in Europe, and in the world. But for that, we really need to trust, and we need the trade agreements, and we need the global commitment as well, as far as the regulation and standards.
Talking of global, I mean, as an event like LEAP demonstrates, this industry is becoming totally transboundary. It's an international, global business. How do national governments, how do you as a minister in Finland deal with the fact that the pace and rate of technology change might be faster than the pace and rate of domestic legislative processes? How long in Finland does it take to pass a new law? A minute? A year?
Well, it takes months. Say 3 months minimum.
That's pretty good by legislative standards.
But to be frank, of course we follow the situation, for instance, with the 5G, the upcoming 6G very closely. I've visited a lot of my colleagues in the US, in Asia. We work a lot within the European Union. For instance, the EU toolbox, I think, was a creative achievement because, of course, we want to promote and implement the fact that the playing field should be balanced. And that's why it's so important that we work for the digital trust, for instance, when it comes to regulation.
So you're not worried about your ability to be able to keep pace with the rate of change, the advancement of blockchain, AI, AR, VR? You feel that regulation and legislation can keep up with that pace of change?
For Finland, I'd like to underline the importance of technology neutrality.
Yep.
That the best technologies can really roll out, can really be implemented, whether it's the consumer or enterprise sector. And as said by Nokia, for instance, before here on the floor, we see that now it's pretty much the enterprise-led timing and momentum instead of consumer-focused. And then, of course, it's so important that we can build up with the companies. I really appreciate the work done here, for instance, as far as digitalization. But I also want to emphasize that it's for the enterprises now to get the productivity benefits, but not just the enterprises. At the end of the day, it comes to the society, it comes to the people, it comes to the income earnings logic of each and every state. And that's why, once again, public-private partnerships, you need to push, but at the same time you need to pull. And you really have to balance with the regulation. And I fully agree that it's not easy. If you look at the packages now in Europe, for instance, taxonomy in general, it's a huge package. But at the same time, we really want to take further and go further with the very ambitious climate agenda, very ambitious digital agenda. And at the end of the day, these two, they come together. Because without smart digital offerings, we cannot implement the green transition. And the smart offerings, they also make smarter public procurement processes. So this is, I think, the big topic now for me as a minister, how to make clever, more clever demand at the government level, how you really build up the vehicles for the implementation at the local level. And we work, as you know, we work a lot with the cities, for instance, when it comes to SDG agendas at the global level, together with the United Nations, but also that how we really implement our solutions. And I'm so honored to be here today and talk with all these great people, because I think we have exactly the same challenge with each and every minister, each and every country.
That's probably true.